Hi and welcome to another episode of Brooklyn's World. This episode will just be a bit of an update on how I'm going with a new dietitian and continuing with the new gastroenterologist and the old gastroenterologist that I saw at the hospital. I think I've made the right decision in firing my old dietitian through the hospital and getting a new one, because the new one is going to take me down a completely different path, so hopefully we'll be able to get somewhere. The most important change that I found with the new dietitian is that she actually listened to me and treated me like an individual, not just like a hospital patient where there has to be processes followed and boxes ticked. Before my first appointment, I wrote the dietitian a 3-page summary of all of my medical history and everything that has been going on with me for the past few years, what had been happening with my old gastroenterologist and the old dietitian. And what was nice was she'd actually had read it before I turned up for my appointment. So we didn't have to spend a lot of time going back over history and basically just wasting the important time that we needed for this appointment. The dietitian said that she'd like to treat me as a patient who has a functional gut disorder, which she explained to me basically means that my brain and all of my gut seem to not be communicating with each other very well. And then on top of this, she's also going to treat me like a gastroparesis patient. She showed me a diagram of the links between the gut and the brain. And after I did a little bit more research, I decided that it does make sense for me to be treated in this way as part of my overall treatment. It really did make a lot of sense to me. And she was now the 3rd professional who had mentioned to me about the gut and the brain connection. We went through my diet, and surprisingly to me, I was actually eating most of the recommended servings of the 5 food groups every day. There was only a couple of things that I needed to increase, but apart from that, I was pretty much on track. And because all of my vitamins and minerals and all of those kind of things seemed to be okay through the blood tests that I recently had, she didn't want to do anything dramatic or drastic to my current diet. After a lot of discussion, the dietitian said that she didn't want my main aim in life to be to put on weight, or to be eating all day, or to be adding fat to absolutely everything that I eat. She said that that's just not productive for me or my mental state. She said that weight gain will come over time, naturally, as I start to get more nutrients into my body and start to get a bit stronger. I'm just to continue adding in foods one at a time, just to see how I go with them and slowly increase my portions. She wants me to continue using lactose-free dairy products, which that's fine because I've been using those for years anyway. And she'd also like me to try to incorporate low FODMAP fruits and vegetables, but she doesn't want me to do the whole entire low FODMAP diet. She also recommended that I try to eat more soft foods, as they will be a lot easier for my poor body to try to digest. She also suggested that I possibly go and see a gut psychologist. I've never ever heard of one of those before, but it does intrigue me. She said people who specialize in this sort of area may be able to figure out why the signals between my brain and my gut have gone a bit haywire. The final thing that I asked her before I left was the big question: do I have an eating disorder? And she just looked at me and said, no, you don't. the appointment feeling like I had been listened to, and that the overall plan did seem reasonable and something that I would be able to consider and incorporate into my daily life. It was really good to know that some of the things that I had been doing were the right things, and that they were paying off, and that they were helping my body and helping me get the nutrients and everything that it needs so badly. It was really nice to come out of the appointment as well not feeling like a complete and utter failure or a non-compliant patient like I did with my old dietitian. An interlude of a nature walk. I've also spoken again to the professor at the hospital where I got the NJ tube, and he is still very focused on treating me as someone with a gastrointestinal functional disorder. He wants me to start a new medication that will help my body digest some of the foods that I am eating, because the enzymes that he gave me don't really seem to be doing anything. He said that they weren't really working because they work best when there's foods that have fat in them, and because a lot of what I eat doesn't have a high amount of fat, then there's not really anything there for them to be working on or trying to digest. He does want me to stay on the enzymes though, because he said that they will work with some foods that I am eating. He also said that he wants me on supplement drinks, which I've heard this all before, but I'm just not very good at taking them. And he asked why am I not that good at taking them, and basically a lot of the time either I just don't feel like them or there is a cost factor. So he said that he will try to get me some through the hospital system, but it will be a challenge because I'm out of the catchment area of the hospital that he works from. So all of that is just a work in progress. He also mentioned that he thinks that there is a problem between my brain and my gut and the connection between them. So that is now the fourth person who has mentioned that kind of thing to me. I will try to follow what has been advised and see what happens. At the moment, everyone seems quite fine that my weight is stable and that everything that I have been doing has been the right thing. Once again, it was really nice not to feel ridiculed or be made to feel like you're the worst patient in the world. The professor actually did seem to listen to me. And towards the end of our conversation, he said to me, "I'm not going to give up on you." So the battle continues, and I suspect that it will continue for quite a bit longer yet. But I do know that my mental state is a lot better and a lot more calm, and I'm not as anxious every time I have to speak to a medical professional ever since I got rid of the gastroenterologist and the dietitian that I was seeing. I did also go back to the horrible doctor who wanted to give me a mental health plan so I can go and see a psychologist about my anorexia. So that was a bit of an interesting appointment. The questions that he asked me were utterly ridiculous. The answer to all of the questions that he was asking me were no. To which, through all of that, he said to me, "Oh, you don't seem to have any mental illnesses or any mental problems." And I said, "Yes, I told you that in the beginning." But he seemed to take absolutely no notice of that, continued to write his little referral, and put on the referral, "Needs to be treated for anorexia nervosa." So at the moment, I'm just waiting to hear from this psychologist person and basically just see what they have to say. I can't wait to get rid of that doctor from that clinic. He is just ridiculous. Thanks for watching another episode of Brooklyn's World. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will talk to you again when I have some more updates or something exciting's happened.